There's the Magic Council.
There's a new Magic Council.
This war.
It is. They said that it is a certain number of guilds underneath them, so that means that they are official guilds, and thus they must obey the Magic Council. But apparently not.
It can't be used for assassinations.
But the Spriggan 12, they have a guy in there whose magic deals especially in assassinations.
That can't be.
I guess I just miswatched it or misremembered or just made it up.
Let's hear him explain it properly.
I love this song.
The attack starts with several flying warships, headed by the 12 Sand Mage Agil, heading straight for the Guildhall. Frida's keeping the attacks at bay using a mass-level enchantment.
He skipped over something when they did get Makarov and just went, hey, we're here. This dude came up and just like, I'm just going to bury you all in sand. They all try to attack him on his big sand monster. They all do nothing. They all luckily get away. But it is established that all the people in there, Erza, Natsu, Lucy, your main ones, your
main characters,
the classic ones, they could do nothing against him. In this fight, Erza beats him by herself darn near, except for the help with one laser. And then our best friends, Elfman and Lizana, defeat him off screen.
To confront Agil herself, and Alzak and Diska are using a newly modified version of that really old Jupiter cannon as a sniper to take down warships.
Pause.
In his and Erza's fight...
How very convenient that this thing was introduced here and now, and it solves the problem. We needed an entire cannon to do what this does, but it has just been modified to just be a sniper rifle that can just be fired with almost no charge up time, because that was the thing in the Phantom Lord arc, where they were just like, this thing needs to charge up like a mug. So as it's charging up, now that Erza was defeated because she took that blast head on, because of course she did, we need to figure out how to stop it from doing another blast. This thing blasts, and then it's
we got like 10 minutes.
This thing blasts is just like, it'll be ready again in a minute. How very convenient.
Agil makes a massive sandstorm to overwhelm her and everyone around, but using her Lightbringer armor, Erza gives a perfect shot for Biska to snipe Agil right off his ship. On the ground, a guy named...
The Lightbringer armor, what do you mean? What is that? Has she ever used it before? Oh, it just creates lights, the one thing oh, I'm going to make a sandstorm. Didn't know you could do that, but luckily I can make a light that can, and then a giant laser will come and defeat you. And then you're just completely forgetting about the, hey, here's my water sword that was never introduced before. And it counters your ability to, whenever somebody touches you, whatever it touches turns to sand. Luckily, I have a water sword that I am using for the first time and never again.
An H because he's special. Uses weakness magic on Lizana, Elfman, Juvia, Mira, and Grey to create dummies.
Weakness magic?
Weakness magic?
Who cares?
What is that?
They're weak anyway.
Seriously.
Why would you use it against them?
Big punch can kill them. And this is one of the dumbest fights where it's just like, oh, here's Juvia. And here's Grey. I'm going to freeze you. No, I got fire. Oh my goodness, here's Juvia. Oh, I'm using heat. I'm using a heated thing, so it's boiling you up from the inside. How are we ever going to defeat them? And then they just go, oh, we can just switch opponents, and we can easily beat them. And then they do.
To create dummies with their biggest weaknesses. He uses the same trick with Evergreen and Bixlow, but through Warren's telepathy, they all overcome the issue by taking on the weakness dummy not meant for them. It's also revealed Wall is a robot.
Why did they need telepathy for that? That's the simplest thing in the universe. Because it was just like, oh my goodness.
They punched and it didn't work, and now they are all out of ideas.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I got nothing left. Can I punch harder? Will that work?
I guess I'm just gonna die here and now. This is the end for me.
Why don't you just give up right now? You'll never make it, Joe. Why don't you just give up right now?
And Family Guy.
It's also revealed Wall is a robot dummy himself, controlled by the real one offshore. In fact, he has a huge blast ready aimed right at Fairy Tail from a ship, but none of...
Of course he does. Of course he's just some robot dude that can just modify his body and create plenty of other soldiers that can be remote controlled from a long distance away, that has weakness magic that can create wholesale magic. Because it's just like, oh, I can create just a fire robot and a really fast robot and a really strong robot. Of course he can do this stuff. This guy can be cut.
Right at Fairy Tail from a ship, but none other than Ichia protects the guild.
Yeah!
And sends out a message to every other guild across the continent to help in the fight. I love how this final battle encompasses everyone across the continent that Fairy Tail has helped out or become friends with over the years. And Ichia of
It's
all
like 3 guilds. Quit playing.
Yo, quit playing.
It is, don't act like it's just everybody. It's 3 guilds, and those guilds are in Fiore.
And Ichia
Or
of all
Fiore
people,
adjacent.
And one of them are legit bums.
Yes. Blue Pegasus are confirmed a bunch of bums.
is the one to send out the message. This tiny guy who seemed like nothing more than a joke character in his first appearance has a major role in helping fight the war. This isn't even his biggest contribution, just you wait. Other than him, Lucy's dealing with the 12's resizing wizard Brandish, who has a weird connection to her. She's about to do something to Lucy when Kana comes out of nowhere to take her down. She accomplishes it pretty easily because when Agil stirred up his sandstorm, he also moved the pollen of Magnolia around, activating Brandish's allergies. I am not joking, but it is actually pretty funny, so I don't care. Anyway.
See, I was cool with you. It's funny. Cool. That's an interesting way to just defeat this person. But then you went, I don't care. Which means that as long as something is humorous,
yes,
you don't care about the quality of it.
Yes. And it also says that he sees error within this whole thing about how she was taken out, but he doesn't care about it because it's funny. Who are these people? They are members of Fairy Tail.
Yes. They're family then. Even though two of those dudes right next to each other look the exact same model.
I was just about to say that.
Hey, my eyes are a little bigger.
Why even have these guys?
Awesome.
To reconvene, Mavis comes up with a plan to send groups to each point in Ishgard. Natsu's the only one who doesn't really follow orders because he's Natsu and charges to the front line, so he can take on Zeref with only Happy by his side. Zeref reveals his true identity as Natsu's older brother, but he doesn't really believe it. To show it's the truth, Zeref puts a hole in E&D, harming Natsu. He also goes into detail about how Natsu got where he is. Igneo was actually...
You have the ability to shoot a laser from your finger?
No, of course, why wouldn't I?
Why? Yeah, standard.
I fail to see the problem.
But yet you stood there and watched Mess teleport away?
Yeah, what's the problem?
Yes, I did. That was a sequence of events.
Where he is. Igneo was actually friends with Zeref, and Natsu was given to him so Igneo could raise him. Natsu and all the other Dragon Slayers, for the matter, were born 400 years in the past and knew each other as children. It's just...
How?
You mean how?
Very convenient.
Ah, there you go. Yeah, And none of them remember any of their childhood times together or anything. And just... It's just like, oh, you're Gagio. Of course you are. You're a Dragon Slayer. Never seen you or heard about you before, but whatever. It's fine. 400 years in the future. I mean, in the past, fine. Teleporting gate that was owned and operated by Lucy's family for generations. Sure, how very convenient.
Past and knew each other as children. It's just that Zeref and an ancestor of Lucy's created the Eclipse Gate, so she could pass down her notes about it through generations until eventually the time was right for the Dragon Slayers to come to the present by the help of one of her descendants. The date the dragons disappeared was actually the date Lucy's mother decided it was the right time to try and open the Eclipse Gate, and like shooting stars, the Dragon Slayers all shot out across Ishgard. By the time Lucy's distant relative...
Why? Anna Hartfilia, the ancestor, she just walked out. And then when she walked up, she was just like, what are those holes in the roof? And then she saw them flying away. Why?
and Dragon Slayer's old teacher found them, they were all living their own lives, so she decided they weren't to be bothered. Other than E and D being Natsu, this twist is something I wasn't expecting, ties back into everything in a coherent way, and brings back items from previous arcs, including back in the Battle of Fairy Tail when Natsu couldn't get through the gate because he was over 80 years old technically. Ah, good shit. Natsu still doesn't want to accept it though, and plans to use his secret weapon to kill Zeref. Natsu's been talking about a secret weapon he had for beating Zeref before, and it comes in his arm containing the last of Igneal's power. Zeref mentions that both of them will...
How did he get that power? How did he know that he had that power? How did he train that power to know that he had only about 2 shots for it?
And how does he know it's going to kill Zeref?
Thinks Natsu will genuinely kill him, but before Natsu can deal the final blow, Happy comes in and stops Natsu from doing it, burning his hands in the process. This isn't a one-off moment either, his hands stay burned throughout the rest of the arc. While he and Natsu are resting afterwards, Brandish...
can heal them.
Why wasn't he stayed burnt when he blew up?
That's fine.
Natsu are resting afterwards, Brandish almost dies in her cell to one of her subordinates she treated poorly, and Lucy helps her out. She takes Brandish to the infirmary thinking they can talk alone, but you know, Brandish is still part of the Alvarez Empire, so instead she tries to kill Lucy. It's revealed
She didn't try to kill Lucy because she was a member of the Alvarez Empire. It was because of a personal thing with their mothers.
reason Brandish knows Lucy is because her mother supposedly was killed by Layla for the Aquarius key. At that moment, from a puddle of water Brandish spilled, Aquarius herself shows up, having had...
Cool.
How?
She saw herself through her key. Oh, wait.
The Spirit King just allowed me to transfer here. Why? So that I can both save your life and deliver exposition that will take her from her evil ways and then bring her over to our side. Your trauma is now fixed. Please sign here. Because that's what happens. She just goes, oh, all that stuff that you thought, no. Hop into this portal and I will show you exactly what happens. Dude. And she goes,
Sign here might be the best running gag we've ever had.
Aquarius herself shows up, having had her key respawn somewhere in the human world after a year. To tell the
Why? Why didn't she mention this to Lucy when she said she was going to break it? It was just like, I'm never going to see you again. Yeah, but so what? Why didn't she just go, my key will respawn. You can come to the spirit world. Whatever. Talk to the Spirit King and he'll make a whip your freaking new key. Who cares? If we could just
He loves you.
If we can just do whatever, who cares? She is going to die. Her mouth is covered. She is getting choked out. How do we solve this issue? Well, the Spirit King allowed Aquarius to come to the human world, and luckily a glass of water was knocked down, so there's water in the room. She stops him, stops Brandish. Oh, and Brandish was the previous key holder for Aquarius. Isn't that lucky? Oh, but Aquarius, the mom. Oh, but there's some drama there. Oh, luckily Aquarius can solve this drama almost instantly and change her entire mindset to the point where Happy comes in later, like Natsu is about to die. They go, oh, he's got this in ether nano tumor. He's about to die in 2 seconds. And she just goes, oh, I can just shrink the tumor. She would not have done that if this convenient thing would not have happened at this very moment. How very convenient.
Human world after a year. To tell the true story of what happened, it's true that Layla once gave her 3 Zodiac keys to servants, and Brandish's mother took her key with her to the Alvarez Empire. A while after that, Layla takes back all the keys other than Aquarius to use the Eclipse Gate. Without it, she still performs the opening by using a ton of magic power, but it only contributes to her ailing health and eventual death. Before that happens, the servant woman travels back to the mansion to...
So you didn't need a key? Nope. Need all the keys?
Nope. You could just use your magic power.
So why didn't she just have, why didn't she use Gemini and the other person?
That's a good question.
And it would have saved a lot of magic power.
Mm-hmm. If you can just funnel your magic into people, why didn't she just go, hey, like 6 people of mid-level magic, just pump some magic into me?
Travels back to the mansion to ask for forgiveness, and she wants to give over the Aquarius key for Layla to give to Lucy. Layla doesn't ask for forgiveness, and instead only wants Lucy and Brandish to maybe become friends when they grow up. When the servant woman leaves, she's killed, but not by Layla. Rather, she was killed by Zordio, the guy that took over Capricorn back on Tenro Island. He stabbed her in a blind rage for the servant woman contributing to Layla's death, and
I'm glad we can see this. I'm glad we're able to, in a Harry Potter jar, all of us jump into it
and just see exactly what happened from a third person view. But in the I forget which arc it was. It was one of them arcs. But in the arc that Capricorn first showed up in, let's just say like this homeboy was clearly upset about Layla's dying. Because it was her fault. So she goes to stab her and goes, it's your fault that Layla is dying. In the Capricorn arc, he goes, I'm going to take over Capricorn's body, and then I'm going to take over your body, Leo, and then I'm going to kill Lucy. Why? If you are affected so much by Layla's death that you would kill the person that you presume killed her, why would you just go, oh, it's time to kill Lucy now? It's almost like Mashima did not think about this and just went, that dude. Yeah, that dude.
He was the real villain.
To Layla's death, and she agrees it was mostly her fault, but asks Zordio to not harm her daughter as well. Zordio breaks down crying, and that ends the story. Brandish has had misplaced anger at Lucy for so long.
How did he get to the point where he was taking over Capricorn and stuff if he's clearly regretful in this moment? Whatever. We need somebody. We need a third party to kill Brandish's mama. Oh, that dude was a servant. It can't just be some no-name bum.
Why not use the other servant? Why not just have that servant be a piece of shit?
We have no reference about them. So, you know what? Maybe they showed up and when she went back home and it was just like, hey, that was that servant in the background. Maybe that's what it was. But whatever.
But then it could have even done it like, I was the one that underhanded your father and the money.
Sure. No.
Misplaced anger at Lucy for so long over something that didn't happen, so she starts to make up by helping Natsu when Happy brings him in.
You just crumple on the paper as she's crying like this. This pen's not working. Pen.
No, it's okay.
It's a little wet.
Hear the clicking of the pen.
Don't mean to bother y'all, but official business.
Through your tears.
Oh no.
Brings him in. Apparently, over time, Natsu accumulated an anti-ether nano tumor from overexerting his magic too long. So
Pause.
Is that what happens?
This is the first time that it was ever established. And hey, guess what? That's not even what it was. So why would you even go, this is the thing that it is? And they just go, nah.
Uses her resizing magic to shrink his tumor. With Natsu back on his feet after the sudden coming and going of a tumor, the show cuts to how everyone else is doing on their fronts. Starting with Gray, Wendy, Erza, Laxus, Juvia, and Carla at the seaports of Hargion, Laxus fights the real wall for the Thunder God tribe being harmed by him. Laxus ends up having a hard time due to some lingering bane particles in his system from Tartarus, but he tricks Wall into fixing him up by writing an enchantment he learned from Freed, making Wall want to break it. The thing being, the only way to break an enchantment is by neutralizing bane particles, so Laxus is back on his feet and finishes off Wall for good. Next, Shelley...
You can't just skip over that. Why does he know this very convenient technique to do this? Why does he fight the one person that can dispel his bane particles? This bane particle thing, as they were in the woods, he just goes off and just starts choking and Gray's like, yo, well, what's the dealio? He goes, I got the bane particles. Don't tell nobody. 2 chapters later, it's fixed. Why could it just not be fixed in the time skip? Oh, because Laxus is too powerful and we need a way to nerf him.
Need that nerf.
Hey, guess what? This dude can absorb lightning. That's enough of a nerf. No, here comes the red lightning. What is the red lightning? Who's to say? But it is, and you can't absorb the red lightning. You simply can't.
Red lightning cannot be beat.
It can't be defeated. So I win. How did I win? By tricking you to dispelling my Bane particles that was only reintroduced to create a problem, and by I needed to make a powerful enough enchantment that you would want to break it, so I would have to learn it. So that's very convenient that I learned it, and I've never showcased any ability to do any sort of enchantment before, nor ever again. And then guess what? Oh, you can still absorb lightning? Well, too bad.
Well, too bad.
That's all it is. He just goes, oh, but you think, what about this?
Oh, you thought?
Oh, word? You can absorb lightning? Well, how about lightning? Can you absorb that? Oh, I can't.
On his feet and finishes off Wall for good. Next, Shelia joins the fight with Wendy and Carla against a psychotic girl named Demaria. Demaria is just your average sadistic warrior that has magic meant for freezing time, so she's about to start attacking Wendy, Carla, and Shelia.
Pause. She's the most busted person in the series. There's no stated time limit to her abilities.
No stated real magic cost.
None at all. She's able to fully interact with people to the point where she strips people and hurts them and everything. She can fight for long periods of time. She can also do other magic within the stop time. Like you said, there's really nothing except for Natsu, of course, that anybody can do about this. But yet she's just some bum. And it's insane. Because it takes somebody going, I've been stuck in the annals of time for the last 2-3 years in order to speed y'all up and then give a third origin just to defeat this person. Because even when they were able to move into time, they were just like, we still can't beat this bitch. This is still just like nothing.
Attacking.
But yet she is defeated. How? And then later, she is still alive after this fight. She goes in a room where Lucy and Natsu are captured. She stops time. Natsu breaks out of that stop time and just punches her. Because Natsu is stronger than time itself.
It's like saying you're stronger than the color blue.
Wendy, Carla, and Shelia while they can't move, but suddenly they're able to dodge her. Their savior comes in the form of an infinitely stuck between the time rift version of Ultir.
Why is there a version of that?
Why here?
Especially
Why now?
since we have an actual Ultir that's just old.
Who's just right over there. And hey, guess what? This isn't the first time that she's ever used that magic. Why is she now just going, oh crap, y'all stuck him in time? Kaguya was she stopped time for Kaguya and took off all of her clothes and sliced her up. Why did Ultir not help then? Why now? Why right here as the sword is right by Wendy's neck? Does it just go, oh no, I'm helping now?
She still
Why is she here? What is this, her lingering magic? What is this? Hey, whatever. It's fairy tale. How do we gotta go back to this. How do we get out of this? This chick can stop time. Nobody can move within that stop time. She can affect people within that stop time. There is no time limit. There is no drain on her magic at a degree that is just like, I can only stop time for such and such amount of time. How do we get out of this?
Times.
So and she could just do it almost infinitely, it seems. How do we get out of this? Well, Ultir is also stuck in between time from when that time that she used her time magic. And
but
she can.
Don't we already have an Ultir out there?
Yes, we do. But she can also unfreeze people in time, even though that was not her stated time. She can only
you just kept
speed
going.
up stuff.
You didn't solve.
And then
problem.
also there was a second origin, but now guess what? There's a third origin, and she just uses that and then they beat her up.
Why am I even in this meeting?
Why are you even in this meeting? Because I'm just telling you what's going to happen. I know you're the editor.
What about all my notes?
This is just what's going to happen. I know I didn't set up any of this. I know it's nonsensical, but it's going to happen. Because what else can happen? I got nothing. He just admits it. I got nothing.
Look, I want this to happen, but I can't figure out a way to make it happen.
So it just happens.
So we're just going to have it happen.
Why would you make a time
Do you have an idea?
Do
you have an idea?
Don't make the time chick.
No.
The time chick's already here.
We're
we
way
don't showcase
past
their power. It's
we're
over.
way past that.
What
Do
about
you
making
have an idea?
What about making a limitation on their power, where she can only affect one person or people
How is
in a
that
certain
cool?
radius?
How is that cool? Why would I even need the time chick if there was limitations? Think. Try again.
So there's nothing that anybody can do. Why is she not?
I mean, Natsu just breaks out and punches her, but besides that, I can't.
Wait,
think of
what?
It. Oh yeah, that's a little later though. We're stuck at this problem right now.
I like how we just shift roles. This is terrible.
Version of Ultir. She still exists in the real world as an old lady, but she also exists as her younger looking self in the time rift she gave her time up to. But she can't really.
Why?
Why? How? Why now?
Why here?
How, so she's moving forward through the stop time. What is time? What is the perception of time for her? Is she existing here and also at every point in existence? And how can you exist in a stop time at this point?
And this can't be the first time that Time Woman used her time jump.
It's not.
So why is this the first time she's appearing?
Whatever.
Rift she gave her time up to, but she can't really help in attacking. She can only unfreeze their time for a given period. It's a little confusing. The point is she helped them unfreeze.
No, it's not confusing. It's contrived and dumb. It's totally understandable. But it's dumb because it needed to happen. Because whatever.
Demaria can't just stop time and fight with a sword, though. No, that'd be too easy. She's a god takeover wizard. Like Mira controls demons and Elfman controls...
What is a god in this universe
What
if
indeed?
there are takeovers, which means she absorbed them, and there's ones that have god slayer magic? Where is a god?
What?
Controls beasts, she controls literal gods. Carla almost dies instantly after that, but Ultir puts her back into the time stop.
Of course she does, even though she can only use her magic for a limited amount of time, and she was breaking away already.
From just being right here, right now. But of course it's just like, well, I stopped the time for her, and then once time continues, just heal her.
Ultir puts her back into the time stop, so Wendy and Shelia will have time to heal her wound rather than watching her bleed out. Ultir can only hold time for a little longer, so the two of them need
Of course she can.
Why does she have limitations?
What happens when she uses all of her powers? Does she just dissipate and never exist between those times? What is she? Is she a remnant of the magic? Is she herself for when she did that time thing? And just like she's traveling in between times. And
like
again,
there was her in the minute before and there was her in the minute after, and one of them becomes the old lady and the other one is just stuck in this time loop forever.
And like I said, how does time move forward for her if she's in the stuck time? How does she exist here? Is she moving forward in time as time moves and also just stuck in time? What if she's in the middle of a city and a building is getting constructed around her? What does she see? Does she see that building being constructed, or does she see nothing? Because if she sees the building being constructed, she's not in the stop time. And if she sees nothing, how is she moving forward in time? It's dumb!
Longer, so the two of them need to finish the battle quickly. To win, Shelia takes on the ultimate sacrifice of unlocking her third origin. This gives her all the magic power she'll ever be able to accumulate in her life, but once the time starts up again, she'll never be able to use almost any magic for the rest of her life.
Pause. They said that you will never be able to use magic again.
Period.
Don't try to sugarcoat this, because she just goes, boom, here you go. At the very end, it's just like, oh, she's using magic again. They did not say she will almost never be able to kind of not use magic sometimes a little. No, they said you won't be able to
Thursdays.
use magic. That's
For the rest of
literally
her
not
life.
what they
She
said.
wins and Demaria is defeated.
That's why he said, "This is my final magic spell." Because I will never, ever be able to use another magic spell.
And this was just introduced right here and now.
The rest of
For
her life.
what
She
purpose?
wins and Demaria is defeated, but Shelia has lost what meant most important to her other than her friends. After that, Crime Sorcier comes to help, and everyone there also has to face off with Ninehart. This guy...
Pause. A third origin release can only be received once, as once the effect wears off, the user loses the ability to use magic.
This guy who can bring people back from the dead that meant something to the opponent to have them act as his personal guard. For Erza, he summons Azuma, a dominatrix chick, and the swordswoman from Tower of Heaven. For Gray and Leon, they get Ore. For Juvia, Keys. Laxus has Hades. Wendy fights Forearms Guy, so on. Knowing they aren't the real versions of loved or hated ones, they all end up defeating their past, and Jellal deals the final strike to Ninehart. He also sort of makes...
You are skipping over the fact that they are beating the brakes off of Erza. And then Erza just goes, "Nah, you ain't real. How about this fear?" And they just dissipate because they are scared. I guess that is the limitation of its power, that if they're scared, they are just defeated. And the thing kills me. Because Leon is just like, "That's we can't fight her." And Gray's just like, "Yeah, we can." That's
Clearly you didn't get the certificate yet.
Oh, you didn't get... Oh, man, you left it over at that island. I got mine. No, but he just goes, "Yeah, we can." That's not really her. It's not like a whole, crap, I gotta beat her, and I'm holding back, and I can't. Because she's just like, they're fighting, and she's just like, "Yeah, wow, this is all y'all got after all this time?" And Leon's just like, "I can't do it." And Gray's just like, "Yeah, you can." And then they just do.
Do the memory people have the same abilities?
Yes, they do.
Why wouldn't she use Ice Shell?
Kagura to the point she can respect him, so it's nice to have that little plot thread sewn up. At the guild hall, another member of the 12 named Jacob appears and proves everyone other than Lucy and Natsu away to another realm in space-time. Lucy tricks Jacob into bringing back...
In the dub, they just have him talk like Jason Statham. And it's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
It's great. Dude does a great job. And he's just got this dumb British accent. And it's great. I love Jacob. Jacob is funny. Jacob is broken. And Jacob is defeated.
Another realm in space-time. Lucy tricks Jacob into bringing back Brandish and the lackey that tried to kill her, so she can bring out Gemini and have them change into the lackey. That guy's main power is nullifying all space magic, so everyone's returned and Makara...
I like how you just skip over the fact that Gemini can just turn into anybody and replicate their magic. That is broken. It is never used again. She does it with Lucy, but hey, guess what? I don't know why Lucy just doesn't summon a Gemini and then just goes, "I can summon comfortably 2 spirits. You summon 2 spirits and I'll summon 1 spirit. That's 3 spirits. That's 1 more spirit that I could have summoned without you being here." She never does this. She can replicate people's magic. She never replicates the teleportation, the telepathy, no important spells. It is just this one time that the Gemini dress is used and the Gemini copy is used. And then never again.
Why wouldn't she just break out Gemini and be like, "Copy my enemy over there"?
Why not? I think they said something like, it has to be a spell weak enough or an enemy weak enough or something. Or whatever.
Huh?
Whatever. It's just bad. Because it's just, I can instantly teleport everybody away to another dimension.
So Lucy was weak enough to be replicated when she was fighting Gemini the first time?
Yes. And she was weak enough to be replicated after
she got 9 of the Celestial Keys!
And she was weak enough to be replicated when she got her second origin unlocked in the Grand Magic Games.
Maybe it's weak in comparison to what your magic is. So if Lucy has an 8, she can do anybody 8 and below. But a 9 will f it up.
Let's see. The Wikipedia page is getting a workout today. Once transformed, they gain the transformed person knowledge, magic, and recent thoughts.
How broke is this?
That's very broken. Oh no. Well, maybe they did, because it says Gemini can only hold the transformation for 5 minutes, and they must touch the person in order to transform. I certainly hope they touched that dude. I'm going to say that they did, and he just didn't show it. Gemini's transformation is restrained depending on its owner, and its only transformation into people with the same level or lower magic power as the owner. Higher magic power than the owner will result in an incomplete transformation. Gemini can transform, blah, 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 whatever. But yeah.
So that means there's a way to calculate how much magic you have.
Ooh, that's bad. And is it the magic that you have at the time, or your
maxed out magic?
Yes. Oh, that's bad. So we just have to go. Homeboy's just weaker than Lucy, and just accept that. And it's like I said, it's just never used again. So there's no really way to calculate anything.
Is nullifying all space magic, so everyone's returned and Makarov eats Jacob out through a window. Lucy, Mest, Natsu, and Happy then leave with Brandish to try and negotiate with one of the strongest 12 members named August. Speaking of August, he's traveling with a guy named God Serena. To put it simply how strong this guy is, there are the 10 wizard saints that Makarov and Jura are a part of, then among them there are the 4 gods of Ishgard that Warad is a part of, and then there is the top dog out of all of them, and that's God Serena. He's a problem because he decided to leave Ishgard to become a member of the 12. So the 3 lower gods of Ishgard...
Why?
Where?
Late 20s, where?
Late 20s, where?
So, it's just 3 of these 4 gods of Ishgard, whatever, are just recently introduced. Mm-hmm. This is really their only showcase. We already saw the tree dude, so he was established, I guess, whatever, who cares. They're just told to be strong. They do nothing except get jobbed out by Serena, and then Serena get jobbed out by Acnologia. Who cares at this point?
Become a member of the 12.
Because Serena, as I said before, has 7 or 8 different dragon lacrimas within them, and he can combine them, and he can use them how, why, whatever.
That was my own fault.
Whatever. It doesn't matter because he's dead. He was the strongest. He showcased it against a bunch of bums, apparently. And then he is killed by Acnologia in 1 strike. And then he is brought back. And then he is killed by Gildarts. We have no feats for this dude, except for them saying that he is the strongest motherfucker.
God, how strong is he?
Leave Ishgard to become a member of the 12. So the 3 lower gods of Ishgard and Jura try to stop him, but he wipes the floor with them using his 8 dragon lacrima implanted inside him. 8. After that, the human version of...
Don't say that like it's an accomplishment.
Seriously, we don't know that 1 is an accomplishment.
He's 8 times Laxus. What? Now, shut up. Because we see the 3rd generation ones with that implanted, and those pieces are weak as...
They were baby moded.
So don't hit me with this 8 like that's some measure of strength.
Especially when he gets one-shotted. He beats Jura, who we know is roughly the strength of Laxus because they fought. And then there's 3 other guys that we do not know how strong they are. And then he gets beat by Acnologia. In 1 shot, it wasn't even a fight. So we can just go, oh, he's this strong in comparison to the later fight that all the Dragon Slayers do.
planted inside him. 8. After that, the human version of Acnologia shows up, and God Serena is in his path, so you think an epic duel is gonna happen between these two, but Acnologia
Subversion!
shuts him. It makes sense in the narrative that as King of the Dragons, Acnologia would wipe the floor with God Serena, but considering the hype and how much this character was built up, I was kinda hoping for just a little more.
You were subverted though, right?
Yeah, so it has to be good.
This is where subversion becomes a problem. Because if you get subverted on something that you wanted, you could be left feeling disappointed as opposed to just clapping because something you didn't think was going to happen.
Character was built up, I was kinda hoping for just a little more. Moving to the northern front, Gagio, Levi, and
Pause.
Lily are
Go back a little bit.
Yes, sir.
A little bit more. There it is. That's my man's Jacob. He
Oh,
goes,
Jesus Christ.
after he sees the number one wizard in all of Fiore get one-shotted, and Acnologia, who just like, I'm sure Zerif has been like, we're here to kill Acnologia. He goes, oh, that's Acnologia, huh? And he puts on his glove, ready to do business. That's my man's Jacob.
Moving to the northern front, Gagio, Levi, and Lily are supposed to be meeting with Blue Pegasus and Sabretooth, but they arrive to see Alvarez's army carrying them on poles like trophies. Gagio fights this Spriggan 12 guy made completely out of Bane particles, and Levi tries to help while assuring
Pause.
Gagio she's fine.
Of course he is.
Why wouldn't he be?
And let's not forget, he knows all of those 9 curses, and he only uses the Bane particles because of course he does. I think he uses like that water thing, but that doesn't matter. Yeah, Bane particles are nothing. He introduced them like, yo, this is a good idea. We can keep bringing this back. It's really deadly, and no. Levy breathes it in.
100 bums?
Because it killed 100 bums. Levy breathes it in for an extended period of time. She coughs a little bit, and she is perfectly fine. There is never like a get her to a doctor or anything.
Tries to help while assuring Gagio she's fine by using a mask, but Bane particles can enter through your skin, so Levi was just saying.
So you don't even gotta breathe them in?
No, so while they were in the water, it was just getting absorbed through their skin that whole time. But they're fine. They're perfectly fine. The people that were by that dude that exploded it, and they're just like, oh, Fred is just coughing and choking and he's fine later? Who cares? It get absorbed through your skin, whatever.
Through your skin, so Levi was just saying that to make Gagio feel better. He comes up with a way to beat Bloodmen, but Gagio gets pulled in with him. In a really heart-churning scene, Gagio tells Levi that she was the person who made him feel like he could have a life outside of fighting, and that losing that is the scariest thing that could ever happen to him. Levi wants to help, but Lily holds her back, and it appears like Gagio is dead. He doesn't die, as shown later on, and I do think that's a massive missed opportunity, but this scene still really gives me chills every time I see it. And once Levi and Gagio reunite, it's sort of a work of beauty, just how amazing their chemistry still is.
Bad thing? Yeah, sure. But excellent thing! Huh? Anything can be excused this way.
Not even mad at this bait and switch, but
Of
that
course
doesn't
you're
mean
not.
I won't have any grievances with this arc by the end. Going back to Natsu and Co., they reach
Pause. So, anytime that you have a problem with a bait and switch, I can just give comparable good moments that occurred because the thing did not happen. I could just go be like, why are you bothered? These good things happen because of the bait and switch. If this is your metric.
and Brandish gets him to consider talking to Zerif, but at that moment, Mess decides to be the biggest fucking idiot by using his magic to implant a feeling of Brandish wanting to kill August in the back of her head, so she would act on it at that moment. I get his intentions, but still, fuck you, Mess. In a well-justified rage, August starts going apeshit when another member of the 12 called Irene...
He literally just went, because they went, you talk to Irene because you're the only person that can. We gotta stop this. Well, he goes, you know what? I like you, Brandish. We'll go through with it. It's fine. We don't need to be doing all this. I'm August. I'm super strong. I can kill you all. We're gonna put that in the back of our minds. Let's go through with it. Stab. It's like, Mess, dude. We literally won. He's like, yeah, I had to do it. And he just goes, well,
yeah, now we've won. You're welcome.
And he just goes, oh, of course I have a healing ability. And he does. And then he just goes,
when another member of the 12 called Irene decides to use a spell that moves everyone around to random places and makes Ishgar 1/20th of its old size. This is the reason the Gajiel doesn't die. When he actually was sucked into the portal, he was being dragged down to the underworld, and right before he enters it, the spell is activated, and he moves to a random spot in the shrunken continent. Before this happens...
Pause.
Is that how it works?
That is how it works because it's very convenient. Teleportation, you're not in a space. You're not in like a spatial in-between plane between physical and
spiritual.
No, you're just still in the physical. And then once things get moved, you just get popped out. The underworld is a physical place. He was getting dragged under, but then he just wasn't. And he's fine now.
That's interesting.
Not really.
Oh, I guess you're right.
Fairy glitter on Lumen Histoire at Mavis's request to free her, as it's revealed she was alive inside it after all the resurrection spells. With Mavis alive and magic returning to her, Zera is also present since Mavis hasn't remembered her yet. Since Mavis's illusion magic has gotten stronger, Zera can actually be seen and heard, so she uses telepathy to tell all fairy tale...
Of course.
This illusion uses magic to tell everybody a thing.
Yes.
Guildmates to come back to the guild hall where Mavis is being held captive after the mixing up sent Zareth right to her. To keep her from being a threat while her power is drained, Zareth's right hand Invel uses a spell to make it so she can't think or act properly. Besides them, the random mixing up also reunites Sorino and Yukino, who are apparently siblings. But Sorino doesn't want to face Yukino or acknowledge their bond until all her sins are made up for. At the guild hall, the various...
Gracious Hiro Mashima.
And it's so tame compared to the manga stuff.
The manga is filthy.
Made up for. At the guild hall, the various fairy tale groups have almost made their way there, but the 9 remaining 12 members all come together, and Ninehart uses his abilities to bring back God Serena, Bloodman, and Wall. So technically, all 12 members are present to fight in what can only...
You see August there? August is Mavis's son. He freaks out and cancels a spell that would kill everybody in the town when he later almost loses to Gildart because he sees Mavis. Why is he not reacting to Mavis in this moment? Mavis is here.
Maybe because he knows it's like a spirit thing and his mom's dead, so it's like what ifs.
What do you mean?
I mean, this is just a spiritual version of her as opposed to her actual body, isn't it?
Yes.
So he thinks she's dead.
No. This is her actual body.
Oh, never mind. I got nothing.
She's out of the
I got nothing.
Histoire.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Described as an all-out war. Gildarts also joins the fray because as a member, he got the telepathy message from far away. The first
and he was able to travel there almost instantly, presumably on foot because we've never seen him travel in any other way. And he is conveniently there to take down the people that he needs to take down.
Right in front of Kana.
Right in front of Kana, of course.
Right after all this insanity is Gray versus Juvia. Invel used his ice magic to make the two of them fight to the death, and the one who survives will get to fight him. Invel knows...
Like I said, he knows not only unstoppable ice, which is better than the Demon Slayer ice that Gray has, which is better than his normal ice make magic. He just knows an even better ice spell that freezes his ice. And he also has the ability to control people's thoughts and actions. For a cost? No. For free.
Money down.
No. Money down.
Works on contingency. No money down. Ah, these are the old ones. Works on contingency? No. Money down.
But yeah, this is, again, so contrived to just go, how do we beat this guy? Well, what happens? Chain together, blood magic. Well, I'm still better than you. No, you're not. After you get this fist. And he just goes, oh, he's using the same magic that I am now. And then he punches him. And for some reason, you're just weak to your own magic. And you die.
and he thinks by having him kill Juvia, the demon-slaying magic will overtake him and turn Gray to Alvarez's side. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't know that the two of them already have different plans, and instead of fighting each other, at the same time they both get the idea to kill themselves rather than each other. As a family, it pains them to think about laying a finger on their guildmates, so much so that it'd be easier on their consciences to let themselves take the defeat and subsequent death. Gray doesn't die, however. Juvia used a water blood pump type thing to keep him alive, and being more pissed than ever thinking she died because of him.
And you're fine with this?
Why wouldn't you be?
And you're fine with just this fake out of Juvia stabs herself?
Yeah, but the moment.
And is still conscious and active enough to link herself with Gray and transfer her blood over, and she is fine later. And Gray is just like, good thing we're the same blood type. And good thing this hole in my stomach is fixed. And good thing I now have enough blood to somehow defeat this guy. And he does.
Gray
Everything works out fine.
More pissed than ever thinking she died because of him, Gray fucking rips into Inville like there's no tomorrow. Theoretically, he should be much stronger than Gray, but to show just how strong their bond has gotten to where they'd kill themselves for one another, he needs to beat Inville. In this case,
he needs to beat him.
So theoretically, this guy is stronger, but just to show that how the bond, he needs to lose.
He needs to beat him. This needs to happen.
What
doesn't matter how it happens. Doesn't matter why it happens. No, it does matter why it happens. Because their bond is so much stronger. It just doesn't matter how. It just matters that he is defeated. He could have slipped on a banana peel and cracked his neck. Doesn't matter. He's defeated. As long as Gray put that banana there.
Many of Fairy Tail's fights, it isn't the battle itself that matters the most, but rather the emotional resonance relating to character growth and strengthening of bonds.
Shut the
Not a negative 10, huh?
Dude, I was going negative 10 in my mind, but now it's definitely a Hall of Fame. What the are you talking about? That you can excuse anything. Hey, the battle happened and it sucked balls because it was so illogical. For some reason, Gray just broke out a fire spell. I don't know, but my God, the emotion. My God, it resonated with me. So I don't care that he suddenly can control plants. I just care that Juvia and him are real close.
That's basically what it is. It doesn't matter what happens as long as the emotion is there. And that is a terrible justification. Dude, legit, you just whatever, anything, as long as you have any sort of emotional investment in this.
Ridiculous.
And that's not how you critique things. Fairy Tail is trash. If I guess if you're invested in an emotional thing, it's not. But what about the logic of the fight? You said yourself, there's no reason why Gray should be able to beat him. But he needs to.
So he do
For the emotion. Netherworld ice freezes everything it comes in contact with. Except for this point, it just doesn't. Why not? It just needed to happen. That's not how you tell a story. That's not how you critique a story.
It's relating to character growth and strengthening of bonds accompanying it. That's also...
Hey, why not both?
What's wrong with both?
Who cares so much about the fights because the emotional impact and the growth and all this stuff? But hey, why couldn't I also have a good logical fight?
Yes.
You're going the bad illogical fight matters not because I was it resonated with me emotionally. Ask for both. Expect both.
No.
No.
You can have either, and that's all I'm going to expect, and that's all I'm ever going to get.
As long as I excuse it, why does he need to get better?
That's a terrible justification. Hey, why is the human still terrible in the Godzilla film? Because nobody expects or asks for better. They just go, well, they're humans and they've always been terrible in the Godzilla.
And now they're still terrible. And it's always been like that. Right, God?
No.
But my God, Godzilla, Kong.
No.
How about we get good human interaction? Considering the human interaction is like 40% of the movie.
There's nothing stopping them. There's nothing stopping Mashima 600, 500 chapters in from thinking logically and just going, how do I defeat this person? Dang. Well, I guess he coats himself in armor and then Gray just punches him. How do I defeat this memory dude? Well, he can only he can only memorize one thing at a time. And
what was that established, sir?
Right now in this volume 14 AMA.
Why did you come back to this meeting?
It's this emotional crap. It's just so limiting. I don't understand why you're just accepting. It's expect more. Why not? Why just excuse this stuff?
Do not excuse bad things because it did something for you.
It's such a defeatist attitude of just like, this is just what we got. But the emotional, I understand it's not logical that he should have been able to beat him, but the emotional
defeatist attitude is a great way to put it, because that's just like the people are like, the Mortal Kombat movie stinks. It's a video game movie. What do you expect? Like, no,
we have decades of good storytelling. Why not? There's nothing stopping us from just going, everything is just well written and good. It's just the quality of the person doing it and the people around them going, hey yo, this doesn't make a lick of sense.
Well,
but it's emotional. It makes sense
dude.
as long as it's emotional.
Didn't you feel something?
As long as you feel you got what you wanted.
No, I wanted a good story. But the feels is what made it good. Right? No. See, he don't get it.
Look at Lucci versus Luffy. The end of the fight, both emotional and logical. Lucci was not able to put up his Tekai. He was off guard. Luffy punched him a bunch of times with a very fast and strong strike. He fell down long enough for them to get away. Makes sense. Makes 100%.
And my God, was Luffy immobile.
He was done. That was all he had. Now, if Lucci was just like, okay, now I'm, Kitamari, he had a bunch of hair spikes. I'm going to do that now. You can't punch through the hair spikes. And then Luffy does. I'd be like, no. He got a good shot on Don Krieg, but his hands was all jacked up. He couldn't do that over and over and over again. But that end of the fight was both emotional and logical. It is absolutely able to be done, but you're just so defeated that you're just like, as long as it got the emotional, that's all I'm here for, baby. And when it doesn't have the emotion, you just go, this fight doesn't matter, so I'm not even going to talk about it. And you move on.
Nothing really happened in there.
Nothing happened, and I'm just going to not even talk about it. Or just go, yeah, they were defeated. Erza just punches her and slashes her, and then they stop the face. But what about the stuff that happened in the fight? It doesn't matter. It just happened. It just matters that it happened and what happens around it. Get this trash out of here.
That's why I feel it's so satisfying to see Gray overcome him. He's grown as a character, and Invel is just the last obstacle in his emotional journey.
You didn't have the full certificate. you got the.
You didn't get it stamped.
You need the master's degree in moving past your trauma. Shut up.
Shut this up.
It doesn't show how he's grown as a character, because he didn't use his own powers to overcome it, or his thinking or anything. It was just like, hey, it doesn't make sense for me to win, but I punched him and I won. That shows how I've grown. No. That shows an illogical end to the fight that you're hand waving away, because it shows his growth and the emotion in Juvia. My God.
He didn't use anything that he learned throughout the fight. Anything that is just like, oh, he got a weakness. He needs to stomp his foot twice in order to activate his magic. Nothing. He just punched him after he got really, really mad.
Invel defeated, Mavis escapes her captivity. Luckily, Juvia doesn't die thanks to Wendy being nearby, but Gray still thinks she's dead, and after...
I guess she can revive blood as well. Her healing also does blood. Because Juvia not only lost a lot of blood, but transferred a lot of blood as well. Good thing that... Or are we just not even talking or thinking about it?
Hey, she's made of water, so she turned her water body into her blood and then moved it throughout her body and then made... It's so given to the feeling. Sure.
Villain great of Natsu being E and D, he's ready to throw some hands. Back to Natsu and Co., he takes down Ninehart, making the 3 Revive 12 go back.
Ninehart goes into Irene's while she's trying to extract the Lumihistoire or the Fairy Heart or whatever, and she goes, Ninehart just goes, I got nothing. They defeated my constructs and everything, and Irene just goes, how about I just enhance your magic to such a degree that you can fight yourself? And she does, and he goes, I'm so strong now. And they turn their head and goes, his magic powers is off the charts. And Natsu punches him, and he is never seen or heard from again. There is no reason why that should have happened.
It was a hard punch.
He could have just been defeated when our boy, God Jellal, struck him down.
And Demaria stabs Brandish after discovering she's siding with Fairy Tail. Brandish tried to play it off by re-enlarging Natsu's tumor, but Demaria is wise to what Brandish could do if she really wanted to kill them, and kidnaps the rest of them to do some horrible stuff. Before she can do so, Natsu is able to wake up and get inside her time rift to attack. Whatever it was that got enlarged inside him, it wasn't a tumor. Instead of harm...
How? How did he do that? She is a god. He is a demon. Their magic is not compatible. You can't even be like, well, God Slayer magic or anything. How does he do that? How does he just overpower her magic? And why could nobody else do so before this very instant?
It turned Natsu into the E&D version of himself that resembles a demon more than anything else. And with Gray recently finding out who Natsu truly is, they confront each other and start fighting. Meanwhile, with the hundreds of thousands of Alvarez soldiers left, Irene uses a form of enchantment similar to Wendy's magic that increases all the soldiers' strength tenfold. Makarov sees...
Oh, we can do this now?
She does that to Ninehart. 10 times the magical ability. And Natsu punches him 1 time. That whole moment was just to establish that she has the ability somehow to enhance people's ability tenfold. For some reason, she did not do this until this very moment. For some reason, she did not do this when all Spriggan 12 members were gathered. She did not do that to each one of them because she can do this to a multiple amount of people, as we just saw in that shot. But for some reason, she had not done this to any Spriggan 12 member except for the one who physically could not fight.
Children in pain and knows there's only one solution to make it stop quickly: fairy law. One catch that's never been explained with fairy law is the consequence. That being, for every person destroyed by it, the summoner's life is chipped away. So once Makarov destroys...
How much is it chipped away?
How much is it chipped away? Is it equal to the person that you are trying to defeat? Because you tried to use that against one of the guild masters back in... No, you did use it back in Phantom Lord. You used fairy law there. That dude was pretty strong. Is it just like one person equals 1 minute, 1 week? Or is it proportionate to their magical ability? And why has it not been explained until this very moment? Not 15 episodes before the end of the series. The very last time that fairy law is used, it is used with a condition. Come on. This is not good storytelling. You can't just keep doing this.
Look at the Erza, and it's going to be so emotional. My God. Makarov's dead, except he's not. And then Erza's bowing and sad, and she punched Natsu and Gray and just like, what are y'all doing?
She grabbed their fire and ice attack meant
right.
to kill each other. She grabbed them with her hands. And she is
free.
She is barely harmed.
Free.
Makarov destroys hundreds of thousands of soldiers. He dies standing in a triumphant pose. Erza mourns his loss, but she also sees Gray and Natsu still fighting after everything, having not noticed what happened. Using her bare hands, Erza blocks both of their attacks. She shouldn't be able to fend them off, but her crying and lamenting over Makarov's sacrifice gets him to snap out of...
You didn't even explain why she could!
No. He doesn't care. It's the emotion.
You don't care! Sad!
She shouldn't be able to but she cries, and her hand is a little burnt and a little frozen, and that's fine. They are both trying to kill each other. Grave for the death of all of his family and everything, and Juvia, and Natsu to get him out of the way so he can accomplish his mission of killing Zareth. They are both going for blood, and yet she is able to, while lowered magic, because she was fighting off a bunch of them people
while using her no
defense armor. She is able to both intercept them to a point where they could not see nor perceive them and perfectly catch their hands, thus that they could not touch each other. And she is fine. And you are fine with this moment. And Nux is also fine with this moment. Why?
Big sad.
It is a child's mentality to just go, it's fine because it's cool or it's sad or it's what I want.
Even if it makes no sense logically.
You gotta be critical of things.
Even if you understand it makes no sense logically. Because you've said it twice within the past 3 of your minutes, I guess. That it makes no sense. But it's good because of emotion.
She shouldn't be able to fend them off, but her crying and lamenting over Makarov's sacrifice gets them to snap out of their petty fight and stop what they're doing. Meanwhile, the last of the 12 to be introduced, called Larcade, is fighting Kagura, Sting, Rogue, and Yukino. His magic has to do with giving people so much pleasure that they die. Larcade considers himself the child.
What is that?
What even is that?
Whatever. They just had to put that.
Because Mashima is gross.
They just die.
Arcade considers himself the child of Zareth, but he has the same scent as Natsu, meaning he's another Aquarius. Sting beats him with the help of Rogue's power to become a light shadow dragon slayer, and Erza and Wind...
Pause.
Of course.
Pause. They go. Rogue goes, I'm here to give you my power. Sting goes, you know I can't eat your ability. And Rogue goes, yes you can. And Sting goes, yes I can. And he does. Not a page after he says, I cannot. He does it. And hey, guess what? We saw that it can be done because future Rogue did it. This is terrible.
Off of Irene. In the prelude before their fight, Irene says she's Erza's mother, and well, you're gonna need to back up for a second on this one because it is truly a mindfuck. 400 years ago, Irene was the originator of Dragon Slayer magic. The reason...
So now we have Erza's family attached to Natsu. We have Lucy's family attached to Natsu. Isn't that very convenient? That 400 years ago,
attached to Natsu.
400 years ago, all this stuff happens that leads to this moment where all of these descendants are all together. Isn't this so very convenient? But it's fine because of emotions.
Dragon Slayers have motion sickness is because anyone who used it at the time would turn into dragons after too long, and the heightened senses that came with it would give them extreme vertigo.
Pause. Except for when he's with Happy. Why? Because that's still emotion. It's motion sickness, not dealing with vehicles. It's just motion. But it can be negated when it's happy.
Shouldn't they be eating super bland food?
Since they're...
Wasn't there a comic or something like that where it was just like, I gotta eat the blandest thing?
I feel like it is. That sounds familiar.
Because eat just a little bit of salt will just take over your senses. Where any movement on a vehicle is so bad because of your heightened sense that you start puking because you got extreme vertigo. Even though for some reason the Christina just doesn't allow that anymore. I don't know.
And then also for some reason Wendy is fine up until the moment that she's not. Because they say quite clearly, you're enough of a Dragon Slayer now that you're affected by this. But she had always been using the sense of hearing and smell and everything. Why now? Well, because it's funny. And that's fine, so we can accuse anything because funny.
Turning into a dragon herself with a child on the way, her husband locked her up for a while before Irene goes full dragon mode and escapes. She stays like this for hundreds of years until she meets Zareth, who's able to give her human form, but Irene still lacks the basic taste and such of a regular human. It becomes such a hell for her that she considers putting her subconscious into her human child to start life anew. She wasn't able to do so, so she dropped Erza off in some random town with no use for her. After explaining that, Irene takes Wendy's body as she's compatible with her, but Wendy does the same for Irene's body and gets them to switch back. After that attempt fails, Irene transforms into a dragon and with a single swipe breaks most of Erza's bones. She then summons a meteor to crash down on Erza, but with one arm she's able to cut through it and slash Irene with a sword Erza had Wendy enchant. This one moment had a major stir in the anime community when it happened, and yes, I have to agree, it's really nonsensical. Like, this is a whole nother ballpark of Erza's achievements, and it doesn't make sense at all. It's bullshit, I'll admit it. After that feat...
Okay. I thought it was going to say but.
Okay, so you'll admit this, because it's on another level. This is a 10, but all the 6s and 7s and 8s, you're just completely ignoring.
Because the emotions of the 9s override that. Whereas this is a 10, so the 9 emotions isn't powerful enough to make me go, yeah, but the emotions, so you can forgive it.
I cannot believe that he just has the ability to critique the knowledge of when crap is bull crap, but then just goes, yeah, but the emotions sometimes. But here it's just like, yeah, this is bullshit. And just throw your hands up. You go, I'll admit it, this is bullshit. Were you not admitting the other ones?
I guess he would have a point of contention for the other one. Where it'd be like, yeah, that happened, but whereas this one, he doesn't have a but after.
Admit it. After that feat, Erza can't move or fight anymore, so Irene is given the chance to strike Erza down with her own sword, but instead she kills herself. The reason for this is because it wasn't that she didn't have the ability to put her mind in Erza's, it's that she couldn't do it. She had chosen not to kill Erza of her own fruition. She just couldn't kill her child then, and she couldn't kill it now. With Irene dead, the continent goes back to normal, and Erza and Wendy just take a seat to fucking chill.
I've been trying to kill myself for some 400 years. Never been able to do it. Hey, this Dragon Slayer infused sword can do it, and she does, and she dies. She was sorrowful enough that she goes, I cannot kill you, Erza, and death is the only option for me. But she could not stay alive to help with August and Zareth in any way, shape, or form, and then just go, hey, that little girl has the ability to enchant items with Dragon Slayer magic. I can die later, but I can help my daughter now.
If she's not trying to kill her, why did she throw a meteor at her? Like she broke all her bones and then went, here's a meteor.
You'll live. You'll survive this. And she does.
After all
she was right.
She was right.
Meanwhile, Natsu is knocked out and having this mind journey where his old memories are brought back, and we learned the tumor that had been growing inside him was actually 2 seeds. One of those seeds is an inactive dragon seed that all dragon slayers have, which usually turns them into a dragon. The other is a seed of a demon from being born as such. And when these 2 seeds intersect, Natsu will die, so he has to choose who he is, a demon or a dragon. He chooses neither because he's a human, and with that, the inner conflict inside him ends. Gray reaches Zareth first.
What is going, I'm a dragon, how does that override the demon thing? How does going, I'm a demon override the dragon thing? What?
Emotion.
I guess. Because it's not like I'm going to reach into myself. It's just like, once I admit that I'm a dragon, the demon thing shrinks down to a size that it's not even, it doesn't even matter. But he didn't know that he was a demon up until this arc. So all this time he was like, I'm a dragon. Why did the demon seed not shrink down to an unmanageable size? Whatever.
And plans to use a version of Ice Shell called Lost Ice Shell. This type of spell will keep...
But I found it.
Here it is.
How does he know this? We're just accepting of this.
Yes.
Again, just accepting of it.
ice shell. This
he
type
might
of
not
spell
be.
will keep Zeref entrapped in ice forever, at the cost of him not only losing his body, but all traces of his existence and memories people had of him will be gone. It's the equivalent of him erasing off the earth, but the spell defeats Zeref while keeping Natsu alive, so the plan is good enough for him. Natsu comes in and stops Gray from using the spell.
You have no feelings about that whatsoever.
I'm an analysis man. I can't be putting my feelings into these things.
You have no thoughts about that whatsoever, other than the fact that it is happening.
That is accurate.
How? How does becoming an ice block erase him from memories?
And why would he need to do that one over the regular one? Like, is it that much more powerful?
No, it's just so people don't feel sad. Because he thinks Juvia's dead. Because Natsu would be sad because his friend is dead.
And
so
he
he's
would
just
be like Gray, where it's just like, I
Yeah.
don't have my certificate. They'll come revoke it.
So yeah, he's just like, I'll just do the one that erases everybody's memories because I can do this. Because this is a thing that is just now introduced. And I can go halfway through it and there is no repercussions.
Natsu alive, so the plan is good enough for him. Natsu comes in and stops Gray from using the spell, obviously, and
He's
he starts
blue
going
and
toe-to-toe with
cracking,
Zeref
and
once
he's
again.
fine.
The difference this time is Zeref no longer refers to Natsu as brother. He calls him E&D, as he's reached his boiling point for once and wants to die so badly he doesn't care about thinking of this resurrection as his brother anymore. In the middle of the battle, Larcade intervenes from behind and gets Natsu in a position where Zeref could finish him off easily if he tried. For breaking up their fight, Zeref is so pissed he destroys Larcade's existence then and there as he cries out for his father. Natsu's just in utter disbelief at this and gets into another fight with Zeref to try and finish things up. Elsewhere, Gildarts gears up to fight August at his full Avatar state mode, and Kana comes in to help with Fairy Glitter, but it basically does nothing since August's main quirk is he studied all types of magic and knows how to copy it. August goes...
How do you study one of the 3 great fairy spells?
Like this. Look at this. Oh, there it is. Here we go.
on a speech asking Gildarts about his relationship to Kana, and he asks why most parents and children could share love, but Zeref couldn't love his own son. As they continue to fight, Gildarts notices his weakness. The loophole in his power is he can't copy or deflect magic when it comes from physical objects like Kana's cards, so Gildarts does a powerful blow to him using his mechanical arm, but it still isn't enough. August prepares to kill everyone in the area with a powerful spell, but we're let in on a little secret before then. All this time, we've been led to believe by August that Larcade is Zeref's supposed son. Mavis had a child in her while stuck in the resurrection chamber, and Precht took the baby up to a mountain before...
Wait, how did he get the baby out? She was in the resurrection stone. How did the baby get in her? How did the baby come to term? Did he...
How did the baby get nutrients from the mother, considering that she's not eating, drinking, nothing?
And she is also deceased.
So if you know that she's alive enough for the baby, you would have to assume she's alive.
I mean, and this didn't need to happen. This didn't need to be a twist other than I'm going to use this big magical spell. Oh, there's my mom. I'm going to cut the spell off. How did this happen? When we saw they met each other, they kissed, she died, she was taken to Fairy Tale, she was put in the stone. Somewhere in between there was a baby implanted into her. I guess that's how sexual activities work. It's just implanted into her. My goodness, 3 hours of talking. A baby was put into her. That baby came to terms with nutrients and everything. She was somehow brought out of the resurrection stone for it to be born. And she was put back in with no repercussions. All these things had to happen for this to happen. For what? For an emotional whatever twist moment. It doesn't make any sense, but you're not supposed to think about it.
Abandoning it. He didn't know what to do with the child, and it had a scary amount of magic power, so he left.
The second guild master As you can see, your first guild master birthed the baby somehow. We're just going to say he birthed the baby. And you just go, I don't know what to do with this.
And it's way too strong.
So I'm just going to put it in the woods and just peace out.
Hope a wolf eats it or something and doesn't disintegrate.
Scary amount of magic power, so he left it. The child grew up in search of their father and ended up finding it.
Is this a DBZ thing where it's just like this baby is 10,000 and so when it gets older it's gonna be in the billions, or was he inlaid with the magic abilities that he had now? And what does it mean to have a lot of magic? Why do some people have more magic than others? How do you enhance that? Or are you always set at a certain magical level outside of the whole second origin thing?
Search of their father and ended up finding him, but he didn't recognize them, so the son stayed silent about their relationship. His name was given to him by Zareth, August. He was named this as it was the same month he and Mavis met, and August reminded him of her. All this time, we thought his question of why the Emperor never loved his son was about Larcade, but the truth was, the reason the child was never loved is because the child never told him of his existence. August's one wish before dying was to see his mother and feel love like a normal child would, but he closed himself off to it when he decided to not tell Zareth. Another bit August mentioned when referring to the unloved boy was that only the boy's mother could stop his path of destruction, and before the spell is cast, he glimpses to see Mavis running towards the commotion. Seeing this person he sought after so long but thought was dead made him pause and stop his attack. With the spell essentially failing of his own choice, August brushes away into dust, but not before appearing one last time as a child to his mother. She doesn't see it, but she hears his call, and that's all August ever really wanted from her. To be noticed. Several people don't like how this battle concludes, and I can definitely understand. It is sort of anticlimactic that Gildarts finds his weakness but still isn't able to beat him, and the only thing that can stop him is seeing his mother, but I actually like the way this ended. August sees the person he sought after and wanted love from for so long, but he realizes whether the spell works or not, he's going to die and not be able to get any love from her. In that moment,
like I said, she was there in the Spring and 12 meeting, and so was he. It seems like Mahima just thought of this right before it happened.
Can't be.
Because she was literally standing next to him.
Hey, sir, they've already met, so I don't understand how this is going to work.
He's already seen her. So this loses all emotional impact. I don't care about this whole mother's love thing. It's dumb, and it doesn't work.
And he chooses to die rather than kill someone so important to him, and he comes in the form of a child for a second so Mavis can notice him, but not say goodbye or even get to know who he really is. It's a tragic tale of a mother and father on opposite ends of the spectrum who never got to know their son. If anything, I found it a bittersweet end to a character that we know went through so much in the name of his father. In other news, Acnologia...
I'm fine with it because of emotion.
Yep, that's what happened there. It ended stupidly, and I could see why people would say that, but it was emotionally great. It was a 8 ending, but my God, the 9 emotion.
Yeah, and is ready to fuck shit up, starting by smashing Irene's corpse. Wendy and Erza tell him to cut that shit out, and he's about to attack. Then Jellal shows up to try and unfuck shit, but to no avail, as Acnologia can consume any form of magic. He is about to kill all 3 of them when out of nowhere...
Boy, what a Madara in person.
Totality again. So now we just go, not only is he the strongest dragon, and we've not been able to be able to beat normal weak dragons. He's the strongest dragon of all time. He's a very strong human, and he can eat all forms of magic. Oh my goodness, how do we beat him? Well, we just punch him.
Ichia, the god, slams the Christina right into him and
5
gets the others
stars.
on board. Anna is also there. She was the original ancestor of Lucy that opened the gate for the Dragon Slayers 400 years ago. She was supposed to be their teacher in this new world, but they shot out and found their own lives, so she just let them be. Her main reason for being there is to explain that
So she left Wendy with those remnants of people instead of teaching her herself, because Wendy, when she got there, was so weak.
So very, very
that
weak.
she couldn't even think. She was fine on moving objects because her Dragon Slayer magic wasn't unlocked enough, I guess. But that's cool.
Wendy should be the most busted character because she's the wind dragon. Wind is everywhere. She should have a never-ending source of magic. But she sucks because you didn't teach her, because she was left there with a bunch of ghosts.
And then she spends, a year and a half with Fairy Tail, and she gets 72 times stronger?
It's almost like if somebody was there to teach her, she'd be unstoppable.
Let them be. Her main reason for being there is to explain that she found a bit of magic that's neither light nor darkness, a dimension of time created from the time traveling that they could push Acnologia into to try and destroy him. They try to chase him into it, but that fails, so Jellal tries to push him into the rift but fails. Then Ichia and Anna by themselves use the Christina to ram right into Acnologia, so he goes into the time rift along with them. He and Anna, along with Acnologia, end up not dying, but to think such a seemingly minor character would go all out to do something for Fairy Tail. It's pretty epic in its own right.
It's not for the world.
It's not for Fairy Tail. And hey, guess what? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Because clap, clap, we need everybody to live.
Back at the guild hall, Zeref gets Mavis and shows that his true intention is to use her power to start a new life where he never was given a curse or his family died. So then he could just sort of live a peaceful, normal life. By taking Mavis's power, Zeref turns white and is stated to have gotten the powers of a god. Natsu doesn't really care as he knocks Zeref down with a punch representing the guild's strength, burning up his arm in the process.
He lit his spirit on fire, and then he punches him, and he just stays down. He goes, "This fist represents all the Fairy Tail. Everybody that you've hurt. Me. Everything. And then he beats him. He beats him real good.
Strength, burning up his arm in the process, and he knows it won't nearly be enough to stop him, so he allows Mavis to do the rest. She comes towards him and talks about their past relationship. Zeref at that moment comes to the realization Mavis just must have never...
She left him, that's why.
Why is his hair black?
She left him, that's why.
Why is his hair black?
She left him, that's why.
So
his hair was white because he had absorbed the magic of her. So now the magic is gone because she left.
Has the ability to release her, and she is in her physical form enough that they kiss and dissipate together. Correct. And this removes the magic that he had within him. Mm-hmm. This is terrible.
Loved him for her to die and not him from the curse. But Mavis refutes that, saying she didn't think as much about their relationship or her love for him. After saying she loves him, the curse of contradiction forces her to cry out in pain while hitting him about hating him and loving him at the same time. With that, Mavis enacts her grand plan by kissing Zeref, causing the curse to activate for both of them unlike before, and they finally both drift off into the spirit world once and for all. Zeref's agony that lasted for 400 years had finally come to an end with the one person who could truly accept him. Just another bittersweet end to a story revolving around Mavis and Zeref. You might think Natsu will vanish because of Zeref's death, but Lucy got a hold of the book of E&D.
So he goes, "I'm going to become a god and go back in time to rewrite history.
I am a god."
And then Natsu goes, "Nah, you're not." And then he punches him. And he goes, "Oh crap, I lost. Come on out, Mavis, and kill me." Why did he absorb Mavis to begin with if he was just like, "All right, Mavis, just go ahead and do it"?
Because he was gonna do that, but then Natsu showed his spirit. So he went,
So he was not defeated. He goes, "No, this is not enough to kill me." He could get up, but he chooses not to and allows Mavis to kill him.
Yep. It's just like with the Naruto Sasuke thing, where it's just like...
No, he could not get up. They were both done.
No. Where it's just like, I've changed my entire outlook on life now. It's like, I want to kill all the Kages, and they suck, and you suck, and we fight, and I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to kill them. Please don't, Sasuke. You right.
Dang!
He got it. Just put the pen in my mouth. I'll just put an X.
Oh, dang, my right arm was blown off, and that's where the paper is. It's in my right pocket. Let me just...
Rewrote it slightly so that wouldn't be the case. It causes her extensive pain, but Gray is able to heal.
Why could she rewrite the book of E&D? Why was it not simply Levy? Because that's her magic.
It would have been made so much.
And that gives her something to do. But no, it's just like, here we go. I can just do this thing, and she just does. And then she gets caused a lot of pain, and then Gray's just like, nah, it's fine.
Ice pain, but Gray is able to heal her with his demon slaying ice. Really, the only
is that how it works?
Sure.
Is that what he was able to do?
Sure.
Why didn't he heal Juvia? Why didn't he heal himself?
Sure.
would be something akin to this, so it makes sense to me. If this were the place where the anime ended,
That makes
I
sense to
wouldn't
me.
have had any qualms. Acnologia is defeated after Ichia and Anna give their lives, the Spriggan 12 are defeated, and Natsu isn't going to die, Mavis and Zareth are able to peacefully live together in the afterlife, Makarov gave his life for the guild. It would have been much better than the ending we actually got. Yeah, this is not the end. There are still 4 more episodes after this to go, so just let me get through the ending. First, Makarov wakes up after having a dream of seeing
It was
Zareth
all
and
a
Mavis walking
dream!
in a field. I don't understand why he was brought back, as his sacrifice meant a lot, and it would have been a
Literally.
perfect segue into the next generation taking over, but overall it doesn't ruin my experience, I guess. I see
should.
this
Yep,
as probably-
it doesn't ruin my experience. No, of course not. If your experience is a 10 and this is a 1,
-1.
a -1, it's just going to be a 9. So it's going to it's not going to ruin my experience.
ruin my experience, I guess. I see this as probably the biggest flaw with the entire arc, the reluctance to kill anybody. I mean, August and Mavis and Zareth and a few other important characters did die for good, and it was really emotional, but other than Makarov, there were the fake-outs of Gajiel and Juvia. With them, I can totally understand not killing them in the end, and it's shown almost immediately that they don't die. But this fake-out lasted like 15 episodes, so I kind of facepalmed when this happened. It doesn't ruin the sacrifice and everything that occurred
Yes, it
afterwards
does.
because of it. Makarov's still like in a wheelchair or whatever, but it
Who
does
cares? Pause. We see him for 3 minutes in a wheelchair. He was able to take out tens of thousands of enemy soldiers almost instantly, and guess what? It's for free.
It's essentially for free.
He's in a wheelchair. Big deal. Why is he in a wheelchair? Just because he is. What does fairy law have to do? And him dying and coming back to life. How is he in a wheelchair because of that?
How do we even know it's because of fairy law and it's not just because of his age?
This is not a comparable sacrifice. He died.
Hey, your life is gonna get chipped away if you take out a single person. Well, I'm gonna take out 10,000. Show me what happened. Oh, I instantly died? Oh, I absolutely didn't?
For the
Cool.
sake of my children, I died. For the sake of the future, so that they wouldn't get hurt, I'm dead. That's cool. I'm willing to do this. And then I am brought back to life for what reason? What does he do? Nothing.
What is the purpose?
Mashima is a bum.
Ever, but it does lessen the sacrifice's meaning much more on a second viewing. Also, like I said before, Acnologia isn't dead. He instead takes over the time rift he was thrown into, takes all the Dragon Slayers to his lair, and splits himself up between his physical and spiritual body. The physical
Sure.
body only causes destruction on Earthland, while his spiritual form tries to keep balance in the time rift while the Dragon Slayers stabilize it. The Dragon Slayers all break free, making his magic less stable, and they begin to fight. In Earthland,
Sure.
Lucy comes up with a plan to try and trap and weaken Acnologia. The main idea is to use Fairy Sphere on Acnologia while
Not
he's
even
stuck on an
colored
ice
in.
boat made by Gray and Leone. It makes sense as a plan considering it shielded the Tenro team from Acnologia all that time back, so why wouldn't it work to trap him inside while he's sick with motion sickness? Mira
7
and the others
years?
lead the aimless beast towards the harbor with magic power and trap him on the boat.
My
But it's
bones are better.
My bones are healed. My God, my bones.
They're better than ever, if nothing.
I don't know what happened, but my God, are they bad?
Spear with only Fairy Tail's power behind it. That's when Melody shows up. Throughout this arc, she hasn't really contributed too much, nor has Crime Sorcière. They mostly just got
kinda
beaten
like
up by August, and Jellal helped fight Ninehart. The reason Melody was gone during the plan taking place and all that was because with the help of Mest, she got all the wizards in Ishgard to contribute their magic through a sensory link to add to Fairy Sphere. With the link, it not only connects the magic, but amplifies it, so altogether, every
Yeah, that's
wizard in Ishgard uses their strength to hold back Acnologia and keep him docile. In a montage, we see everyone contributing, from the Element 4 of Phantom Lord to the Legion Platoon to Erza's friends to the 4 Gods of Ishgard.
Did you really just edit it that bad? Did he cut from those two to back to the large group and then back to those two?
Phantom Lord to the Legion platoon to Erza's friends to the four gods of Ishgard to Brandish to that.
Now I'll say this: why would you show all of this if you were not giving them any sort of new design? This is 8 years in the future at this point for some of these people. The Phantom Lord troop, the Element 4, 8 years in the future. We got the 7-year time skip and then we got the 1-year time skip. And they look the exact same. Don't show them if you ain't gonna show them different. It's lazy.
Kid from the first
You
episode.
think you doing something, but you not. Daphne!
The first episode to even Daphne. I hate Daphne so much, but for once in this great montage, I actually for once felt happy to see her. During the fight of the Dragon Slayers at the same time, they're trying to go 2 or 3 at a time to no avail against Acnologia's spiritual self. We also get a backstory for him showing he used to be a doctor that helped dragons 400 years ago. Suddenly, the dragons, including a friend of his named Acnologia, all revolted and called the humans vile, wiping out his city and making him crave dragon blood. As he went, he kept craving more and more until he became the Black Dragon of Death. As the fight keeps going, Acnologia keeps screaming out saying he wants more dragon blood, and he starts being weakened by Fairy Spear until eventually it really kicks in with him not being able to move at all. Seeing an opportunity, all 6 other Dragon Slayers give their magic to Natsu via Wendy enchanting him with it. With Acnologia...
Okay, so she can just do this?
Yeah, she did it with the sword. That's establishment, sir.
6 people.
Sir, that's establishment.
6 people.
They've established she can do this.
6 people.
Sir.
She can enchant 6 people with Dragon Slayer magic into one person, and it is mixing and melding.
She's just doing a bigger version of what she's already shown she can do. I don't see what your problem is, sir.
I see a big problem.
What could possibly be the problem?
Why?
The problem? That can't possibly be the problem.
Power of every acquaintance and friend the guild has met over the entire series, Natsu delivers a full power blow using all 7 Dragon Slayer's strength to slay Acnologia. A grand majority of people hate this ending, how Acnologia is beaten in one punch, how Makarov wakes up, how Zeref should have been the final villain of the arc, etc, etc. I agree that it would have been better to have Zeref be the...
Wow, your editing is very not good.
I agree that it would have been better to have Zeref be the final villain. I agree that Makarov should have stayed dead. I can even agree that it's disappointing how Acnologia went down in one hit.
However,
but I still cannot hate it. Seeing everyone from around Ishgard give their strength to...
Oh God, I feel so happy.
Emotions.
My God, how could you not love this?
It's the emotion. I can understand why people are mad. And yeah, it's kind of trash, but I can't hate it.
Trash.
I can't hate it. In fact, I'm going to excuse it. Here we go. And look at all these people just standing stock still. 0 frames.
From around Ishgard give their strength to weaken and trap Acnologia for the guild, and watching Natsu use all the power of every Dragon Slayer to take down Acnologia made me smile in the end. It felt cathartic to see our guild...
Me happy! So it good!
Fairy Tail is trash.
I smiled and I clapped and I 5-starred.
So that's all that matters. I felt a good feeling. So it's good. Fairy Tail is not trash because it made me feel good.
So how could it be bad if it made me feel good?
Foe with the many characters we've come to love for years now. It has many flaws, and I don't blame you for hating it. I have mixed feelings on it myself. It could just be because I'm biased towards the series and
it is because you're biased.
100% is.
There's no other reason. You're talking about all this objective stuff. Just look at what happened objectively. Anytime you feel like a 5 or 6 happened, it's probably a 1 or 2 actually.
Seriously, because you're just so biased in the series that it's just masking all of that. And you go, well, I guess it is kind of bad, but
you're rational enough to understand how bad these things are, but you're still irrational with your analysis of it by just going, I smiled.
Love the characters so much, but I don't hate this being the final fight, though it would have been much better if Zeref was the final boss. In the aftermath of the whole thing a year later, Lucy finally published a book she'd been working on from the beginning of the series. Jellal becomes a thing, Juvia becomes a thing, the princess takes over as ruler and pardons crime sorcier, a reincarnation of Zeref and Mavis start to get along, and near the end of the episode, the original opening theme starts playing. There's something about the first song that makes you feel cozy and at home. It's the perfect representation of how Fairy Tale makes you feel, like you're part of one big happy family with all their quirks and weird traits about them that you can.
You're making me hate this song. You shut the up about feeling like a member of this family. You shut up. I'm sick of it.
You're part of one big happy family with all their quirks and weird traits about them that you can accept because you're pretty weird yourself. The tune is...
Oh, dude, it's getting worse by the second.
Dude, with this crap again.
You can accept.
My goodness. Are you still doing with this acceptance bullshit? Or you can't be.
Them that you can
This
accept
2-minute wrap up bullshit. You can't be doing this still.
Can accept because you're pretty weird yourself. The tune is inherently nostalgic, and at the end of the show, it feels like a parting gift before something you loved is about to end. In the final scene of the series, Natsu and Happy come to get Lucy so everyone can go off on a century quest just like Gildarts tried to do all those years ago. This is a setup for the spin-off manga 100 Year Quest, but as far as the original series goes, this is the end, and it's only fitting that it would finish with the gang going off on another adventure. When I look back through the series, I see a lot of flaws. There are moments where the fights could be bad, where the friendship stuff could become
You explain maybe 10 flaws here, and they're usually backed up with but I didn't mind, or I didn't hate it, or it could have been better, or no, but this is how it's actually good though that this happened. Yeah, this fake out thing is bad, but it led to this big moment of Gray just punching this dude, so that's alright. You can't do this.
He's been doing it for 3 hours, sir.
Where the fights could be bad, where the friendship stuff could become a little overwhelming, where the ending had many flaws in its own way, and I know Fairy Tail isn't perfect or anything, but I still think it's a great experience. Personally,
Anything is a great experience depending on the person it is. Hey, I don't like getting slapped in the dick, but there's dudes that do like that, and it's a great experience for them. There's people that like their nuts twisted. I ain't one of them. But hey,
that's them.
It's a great experience for them, isn't it? Does that make it a actual great experience, or is it just something you personally like?
How are you trying to convince people that Fairy Tail is not trash? With I enjoyed it. It was a good experience.
Personally, I'll always love the series, faults and all, because it captures a sense of welcoming and joy that I don't see with too many other anime.
Of welcoming and joy?
And joy.
I feel welcome here.
And joyous.
What do you do? Please watch Black Clover.
Seriously.
Please watch Black Clover. And I will never say I will always love a series, because I hate Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
And my God, was I doing Kamehamehas in middle school.
Absolutely. Fusion dance and all those. But then you just go, hang on, half a tick. This real bad.
Real bad. Hey, you can still like it, but my God, that quality.
It is.
And as we've said before, if it was like Yu where kind of people are talking about it, I wouldn't give a about Dragon Ball. But people are still out here singing its praises. Not that they're personally enjoying it, singing their praises. So you don't know how you're going to feel about Fairy Tail in 10 years when you've consumed way more media than the probably 6 anime you've seen. So tired of these moms with less than 10 under their belt talking about, my God, look at the greatness.
This is the best song I ever heard. You heard 3 songs.
Yeah, and this was the best one.
Fairy Tail's guild is my guild, and your...
Ah!
Enough!
Boy, that's solidified.
Dude,
my guild,
Whatever.
and your guild, and our guild, and it's something that I really cherish. And with that, my fairy tale video finally comes to its end. 56 full pages on Google Docs of non-stop writing for 2 weeks. My throat dying from recording.
Pause. It was just synopsis.
It was just a bunch of synopsis, my guy.
I'm not gonna count this, people. Don't ask me to. Maybe somebody can endeavor. Okay, if somebody, let's see if you agree with this. If somebody calculates accurately how much synopsis and analysis it is, you can hop on and revisit it with us.
Or we will guarantee do a revision.
We will guarantee do a video that you want. That's better. Cause y'all might be bums. We ain't the funniest months in the world, but we know each other, chemistry and all this stuff. So yeah, and we will endeavor to watch a show if it's something that we haven't seen. That's a good one.
Yes.
If you accurately go boom, boom, boom.
Yep. If you do that and you just pick out like 5 videos you want us to see, one of the 5 we'll pick and we'll do it.
100%. And
100.
we'll do it within the next like 2 weeks of you
accurately counted.
Yes. Because like we said, this I don't see how you could just, because you could just read the manga, just skim it, or just go to the Wikipedia and synopsis,
bruh,
and just
really
copy paste,
and then just change the words a little bit to fit more of that,
and just go at this fight. Then nothing really happened, so I'm not even going to talk about it.
Like 3 hours of audio for an additional week, and however long it took me to gather video and edit this goddamn thing. Before I go, I'll just prattle off a few more opinions I have on Fairy Tail because, you know, why not?
Talk
the
about
best
Natsu
opening is never in Tail. Gray is the best character.
Pause.
Don't play Never Intel. He liked Rock City, boy.
Okay, this. What's this? That sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's an opening.
Man, maybe I need to see it with the visuals. All right, no timestamps. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, thank you, commenter. Okay, no, this is the one that we were just like, it's got a male and a female, so it's pretty good all out the gate. I don't agree that it's the best one,
but you know what? It's good enough to
it's memorable. It's not like, let me pick a random one. It's not like this.
Generic rock.
Never Intel, Gray is the best character, Levy is best girl, and Boys Be Ambitious is the best ending. If you guys...
You.
There can ever only be one GOAT. I'm very sorry.
You are disrespecting the great name of Merry Go Round by not mentioning it.
Merry Go Round is by far the best opening of Fairy Tail, and probably ending, and probably top 3 ending of all time.
What did he say that one was?
It's not Fairy Tail.
There's really only one memorable one.
Levy's best girl, and Boys Be Ambitious is the best.
Boys Be Ambitious.
I think that was like the 5th or 6th one.
10. This. I can't listen to this. Your opinion is wrong. Quote me. Quote me.
character, Levy is best girl, and Boys Be Ambitious is the best ending. If you guys like this video and you want me to do anything else relating to Fairy Tail, then I don't know, maybe I'll cover some of the spin-off manga because there are a lot of those, or maybe I'll make a small video talking about why I think Fairy Tail is not a ripoff of One Piece or anything. I don't know, the spectrum is pretty large there, but right now, I'm gonna go to sleep and die in my grave now and wonder about what small things I missed in this video that I'll be thinking about for years now. Okay, goodbye.
You can always just do another one. Follow up things I missed. HOF.
Hall of Fame.
Boy, yo.
When this video wasn't just synopsises, it was pretty bad opinions. And it just made me remember a bunch of bad stuff from Fairy Tail, which is always a bad thing because Fairy Tail is really bad.
And it got me punched.
That may or may not have happened. It may have been a dramatization.
Yeah, there's not much to say. It was very long. It was more synopsis. It was nowhere near as boring as DBZ ran. I don't know what that man was doing with his drive-in voice. This guy at least tried to emote and...
Yeah. And there's a lot more to talk about in Fairy Tail than Bleach, so we at least got some dander up there as opposed to... There's a lot of just like hot
he
7,
swung him sword.
6, 7 on 10 stuff in Bleach and in Fairy Tail, especially since we haven't really talked about it. We haven't really gotten to the minutia of each and every arc. We were able to talk about it here and now, so that was something, and probably never again. We'll probably hit that One Piece Fairy Tail video that he was talking about. It was only like 15 minutes.
Or even another Nux one of the Fairy Tail stuff he's done, because he's a bum.
But this is just like, that's all the Fairy Tail. What else can we say? We got
Fairy
everything.
Tail is a very bad series.
It's a very bad series, and once we do that, once we do another shonen tier list, that's getting dropped.
Really?
There was a lot of stuff that I just forgot about.
Just wholesale until he was like, hey, this happened. Wait, that did. And a bunch of stuff you don't even think about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can understand it.
But yeah, this was a really, really bad video. It didn't need to be 3 hours of synopsis because who is this video for? The people that know Fairy Tail, and if they know Fairy Tail, they either like it or dislike it. If they like it, then you're just telling them what happened in Fairy Tail, and if they dislike, you're just telling them what happened in Fairy Tail with very little analysis or critiques or anything, and it's not going to change their opinion. Who's going to sit there and be like, I hate Fairy Tail, let me watch a 3-hour video of him explaining why Fairy Tail isn't bad, but it's just synopsises, and I know what happened, and I know what happened in Fairy Tail, so it's just like whatever. So I don't know who this video is for. Oh boy, this is a chunky one though. It's
yeah. Yep, we're done.
You got the next choice, which is because you won that whatever it was 15 years ago.
Of course,
so you got that coming up next. Any ideas what you're?
I've thought of doing the Cosmonaut Spider-Man. I've thought of doing one of the Nuktaku videos. I really want to hit Oceanus again, but it would be going back to part 5. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I want to do that. So I've got like 4 or 5 things I'm thinking of. I will probably know within the next 2 days.
Go. I mean, we've got hours of videos just stacked up, so it's not like we need
stacks on stacks on racks on stacks. Maybe we'll do a special one where we do that Naruto versus One Piece and we live stream it instead of recording or revisit it.
Yeah, that might be good, but that's also like isn't that like a big group conversation?
No, that's 2 people. One person's for Naruto, one person's for One Piece.
That's not too bad. That's up to you.
Yep. All right, we're out.